This is the Impressions Exchange Podcast. Where all topics impacting the graphic imaging and printing industry are addressed via in-depth news coverage, analysis, and timely interviews.
Hi, I'm Denise Gustafson, Editorial Director for Printing United Alliance, and the guest host for the special Printing Impressions podcast series in celebration of Women's History Month, highlighting women in the printing industry. During this series, I'll have the opportunity to talk with women from all segments of the industry about their experiences and their journey as a woman in the industry. It is my pleasure to welcome Jan Steiner. She's the former president and CEO of Thorough Packaging, but currently she has some other adventures that she's doing with TradeWorks and Make Dust. So Jan, thank you so much for joining us today.
I am absolutely delighted to be here.
To kind of get us started, can you give me a little bit of background about what you were doing with Thorough Packaging? Because I know you retired from there around, 2018 or so?
Yes.
And then a little bit about what you're doing right now.
Okay. My dad started the folding carton company right when I got out of high school. It was a very small company. It was a single color printing press, a converted letterpress to become a die cutter. And for all the boxes, we hand glued them. When I say we, is primarily my mother and myself. So I was going to JC at the time, but I was always helping my dad. I always had another part-time job as well. So it took me 3 years to go to community college because my second and third year, I went to school either Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I help out at the plant, whatever needed to be done. So that was my introduction to the printing industry. And then afterwards, I did get a job in retail. It was in a management training program. In a couple of years, I always had a day off during the week with retail. So where was I? I would be over at the plant helping things out, whatever needed to be done. It was my dad's dream to have his own company. I wanted to help my dad succeed wherever I could because they started without a lot of money. So it was whatever I could do to help. And I started getting more involved. And then one day my dad offered me, he said, "Can you come and help out full time?" I said, "But my job pays me." He said, "Okay." So it was a one-girl office, very small. And I was able to continue to do other things within the company, whatever needed to be done. And one day I said to my dad, I said, "We need sales." And I said, "I'd like to go out into sales." And he said, "Okay, there's the door. There's the world. Go." I went, "Oh my gosh."
Well,
So exactly. So I went back to the community college and I took a sales course. And I went and got myself a new suit. And I started going out in sales 2 days a week because my dad said, "That's fine. You go out, make sure the desk is covered." And so that's how I got more involved with the company, started doing more sales. And then unfortunately, my dad's health failed very early on in life. I was 32 and the board of directors elected me as president. And I woke up the next day and I went, "Oh my gosh, what just happened? I am now responsible for the 20-some employees that we have. I'm responsible for the accounts payable, all of our suppliers. I'm responsible, our customer satisfaction. I'm it." I think I put the pillow over my head and said, "Oh, okay, well, get up and do it." And that's what I did. And then it was really interesting because my dad had told me to get involved with a local trade organization. He said, "In case of a disaster, they will help you. But," he said, "they won't always be nice to you. They will stab you in the back whenever they can." It's sales, it's business. Mm-hmm. And so I got that. What I didn't expect is when I went to the first meeting, and there were 3 gentlemen there, all about my age. They were all the sons of folding carton companies. And they looked at me, one of them looked at me and said, "What are you doing here?" And I went, "I don't know. My dad has no sons. I'm taking over the company." And it was so awkward and so uncomfortable. And after that, I walked out of there and said, "I'm going to prove to them a girl can do this." And that was my driver for years. when I would get myself down, because you're running a business, there's challenges.
It's not easy. Yeah.
It's not easy. And you get challenges where you least expect it sometimes. That was my driver. I am going to prove to them that a girl can do it.
And you did.
And I did. I did. Yes, I did.
You brought this family business, a small business. And when you retired in 2018, what kind of a business? It was a huge business from what I remember.
Yes, it really was. We went from 27 employees. When I sold it, we had 175 employees. And one of my biggest joys was watching people grow and develop to be the best that they can be. That was so good. And then after I sold, I went to the plant one day and one of the employees said, Jan, I want to share. I am now the second pressman. And he was so excited that he was progressing up. And that was some of my biggest joys running the company, was watching people grow and develop to be the best that they could be, and trying to give them the tools that they could do that. But then they have to take it. You can give people tools, you can give them the concept, there's the road, but they have to do it, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So obviously, when you were starting out, there were some big challenges, and the industry has come a long way since you started, especially with the amount of women that are in the industry now compared to when you started.
Yay.
Obviously, you went into that one meeting, 3 men and you. How have you seen it change? It's probably changed within your company and now in the industry at large.
Yes, that was a more regional organization. And so I decided to go to a national organization because I wanted to be able to meet other people from different parts of the country. That's the one good thing about the printing industry. We're not really national, we're local. We're local businesses. So I wanted to be able to go and meet people that had similar companies from other parts of the country. So I told those guys that told me, what are you doing here? I said, well, I'm thinking about going to the large paperboard packaging council meeting. He goes, oh, well, you can go there, but they're not very friendly. I'm thinking, well,
neither are you. That's probably what came to mind.
I went to the people running it and I said, I'm a small company and I'd like to meet other people who run small companies, because they had the big, large companies there, of course. And I also wanted to learn what they were learning. I wanted to hear the speakers that they were listening to. They were paying the big dues. I was paying little dues in comparison because my company was little. It was based upon the size of the company. So I thought that is a wonderful opportunity to learn. You know, I'm a life learner and I started then. So when I went, I was in the auditorium with all the speakers and all the different people. I went to the restroom and there was one other woman. There was only one other woman there. And she said, a nice Southern accent, aren't you glad I came with my husband too? I didn't have the heart to go into anything. I said, I am just so happy to be here and hearing what everybody's hearing and to learn. So I didn't. So yes, I was the only woman there. Now I have some of my best friends that are running companies now, running their family companies, and the suppliers that are there and that are so diligent with what they're doing. And to see so many women, I love it. I love it.
It's amazing how much has changed.
Yes. And at the paperboard packaging, one of the things I kept saying, we need a women's leadership program. And I'm like, oh, why do you need a woman, you know? And I said, I really think it's important. So myself and one other of the women really got involved and we made it happen. And we have a woman speaker now and it's really great. And the guys go, well, we need something like that. Well, you guys get her on the golf course. Most of the women, and I say most because most of the women also have families and they don't have the opportunity to go and spend 5 hours golfing. So if we can go to a conference, we're already making the commitment to go to learn about our businesses and have a 1 hour or 1.5 hour lunch and speak about where we are as women and how we can be the best that we can be. I mean, yes, let's do it.
Might as well make use of the time. Like you said, you're already committed to that time. You're already at the conference.
Yes. So they do it at a luncheon and it works out perfectly. And they have a wonderful speaker that they've been bringing in. And it's really great. So great to see the increase in the number of women that participate. Really
and the fact that there's more women there to participate.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yes, yes. Because it's really good.
So talking about leadership and women in leadership, you mentioned that it was something that's very important to you. Why do you feel it's important to have women in those C-suite or leadership roles within the printing and packaging industries?
I think we bring a different perspective. Basically, we're the consumers.
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones that are going to the drugstore, to the grocery store. We're the ones that are picking up the boxes and seeing all that. Again, I lead most of my conversation into folding carton packaging because that's my world. We're basically the consumers. And I think it's really important for us to be able to be at the other side of things and with our customers and our suppliers and be able to help understand and to see how we can make things better.
Definitely. Yeah. What kind of qualities do you think help to make women really suitable for some of those leadership roles?
Realizing you're going in there, you're a person. You're a person. And I have to say that there were some times that I had a bad attitude towards men. And I don't like to have any regrets in life, but that is one I sometimes wish I didn't have that negative attitude, but it's usually after something weird happened that we got put down or something. But we're just people. And they're people too. And just like to be respected for what we know. I do believe that as women in the industry, we do need to know a little bit more sometimes than the guys. Be a little bit better educated. And actually, that's how we're all going to succeed. The more we learn, the more that we can bring our learning to the table for our companies, the better off we're going to be and the company's going to be. And leadership, usually you will be able to see that because you're trying to make a difference.
Definitely. And you mentioned something that sometimes you were a little bitter toward men, especially if there was an incident or something. How did you shake it off when you had those 3 guys or other incidents that happened? Is it easy to shake off some of those things to keep going?
Not always. Sometimes, especially if you're really the only woman around, you can go in the ladies' room and scream because there's nobody there, the one thing about not having a lot of women there sometimes is that there's no line in the ladies' room,
Always good.
Yeah, always good. Okay, get over it. Get over it. Is feeling that way going to accomplish what you want to accomplish out there? I had times, and I'm sure most other women in the industries have times where I've been in a meeting with a gentleman and a supplier or somebody comes in, I ask the question and that person answers, looks at the guy in the room to answer. Sometimes you have to just roll your eyes and just go, oh well, did I get my answer? Yeah. And then we walk out afterwards and go, seriously. But then move on, because holding stuff isn't going to help anybody. So you have to let it go.
Yeah.
And then keep going.
Sometimes it's easier said than done.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if your blood sugar is a little low. I'm one of these, I have to eat all the time. If I got a little bit beyond where I should, then sometimes it's a little harder. But anybody who traveled with me, they always knew to, if Jan, do you need a bar?
So
one of
good
my
to know.
protein
If I
bars.
ever travel with you, you get hangry. So I will keep that in mind.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Now, moving back to something you mentioned early on, talking about being able to see people within your company really grow and move on and expand their abilities, their skills, and that was something that was very important to you. Throughout your career, have you really had the opportunity to do a lot of mentorship toward people, men or women in the industry, to really help them along in their career?
I believe so. And I've been told that by some of them that you really helped me
Hmm.
to get where I wanted to go. And so that to me makes me feel good. Because sometimes I feel that part of what I was doing, not only being the CEO, was also being a teacher. I know they don't use the word like that anymore. They use, mentor.
Yeah,
I'm an encourager. And sometimes I have to encourage myself. Yes.
we all do.
Yes. So, but that's one of the things that I'm known for is encouraging. And that's what people have told me. I send them a little note and they say, I got that just at the right time. Thank you. Or a little text or something along those lines.
Hmm. Because like we said earlier, it's people and we're working with people, we're dealing with people. So being able to help them make that next step, make that next career goal that they have is so rewarding.
Yes. Yeah, because well, things have changed. When my dad was started the company and in that era, the leadership was quite different. It
Hmm.
was you do what I tell you to do and how I tell you to do it. And working under that with my dad was very difficult. However, I learned a lot of good things, but I also learned the importance of teams. I really believe in teamwork, and crazy ideas are okay because out of crazy ideas, good things happen. I mean, that's how we got to the moon, right?
Hmm.
And through crazy ideas, look at all the innovation that has happened in the printing world. It's phenomenal. This is because somebody had a crazy idea. How about if we try this? How about if we do that? And to be able to collaboration and being able to do teamwork is so exciting. And then to be able to celebrate those things, even if they're small. Sometimes we need to acknowledge and celebrate those positive things that have come out of those brainstorming and stuff, even if it's just by bringing in cookies for the team or have somebody bring in the local coffee for everybody. I think that's important.
Especially because we're surrounded now by a lot of negativity just in the world around us. And a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
times, the only time we hear about something is when there's something wrong.
Yes.
So to
Yes.
celebrate the successes and the triumphs, like you said, even if it's a little thing,
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
makes a world of difference sometimes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then you put a smile on somebody's face.
Hmm.
That's great. And then they think, okay, what I'm contributing is worthwhile. And that's good. And that's making things happen. So I think that I fell into printing
Hmm.
because of my dad. However, I absolutely loved being able to be involved with this company and being able to bring new things to marketplace, bring new ideas. And I think through that is how we really grew as a company by trying to be ahead of the curve in some areas and bringing new technology to the industry when we see new things or incorporate different graphics onto different types of paperboard or something or different structures that are eye-catching.
So one thing I wanted to kind of touch on was you've seen obviously a lot of the industry change as it's moved through the different decades. One of the things that the industry has been struggling with, especially probably the last 10 years, if not even a little longer, has been trying to find qualified people to be within the companies, whether it's in the press room, whether it's in the front office, it doesn't really matter. That's been one of the biggest hardships that I'm hearing across the board, no matter what industry we're talking about, whether it's commercial,
Mm-hmm.
packaging, whatever. How do you think, or what do you think are ways that we can get younger people in or more diverse people in to the industry?
Actually, that's one of my passions right now, is how to do that. And that's where I came up with TradeWorks USA. I believe that not all high schoolers are geared for a four-year college. Trades are a really good option, and printing is a great particular trade because I happen to be a little passionate about that.
Of course you are.
So
You're allowed to be.
that's something I'm working on. Actually, I found out in Southern California, there was three colleges that have junior colleges, community colleges that have printing programs. And one of them, which is Riverside Community College, had a single color printing press that was so old they couldn't get parts for it anymore. So I went on the 2.5-year journey to donate a printing press to them. So we donated a 4-color encoder. It's partnered with myself as major donor and Heidelberg, a small 4-color encoder offset printing press. And it's just so exciting because they use that for their own internal work, going out to the 3 colleges that are in their community, in their district. So not only that, but it's a teaching tool. 2.5 years it took me to get that press in there with red tape and everything going along. So we found the right press and we finally got the okays and we got it in there. And there's a young gal, we had an open house, a ribbon cutting open house. And there was a young gal and she was the printing pressman that day. And she was printing these little posters. And so I was able to speak to her. She actually has her bachelor's degree in history. And during COVID, she was out of school. She was a teacher. And so all of a sudden she's out of work. And she said, I want to get into a position where it's an essential worker. Because printing was an essential worker.
Yeah.
And so she looked it up and she saw that printing was that option at that community college. And this spring, she will be graduating with her certificate for printing. Isn't that awesome?
That is amazing.
I know. So to be able to see that, and here is somebody who has her bachelor's degree and coming back and learning printing because she wants to get involved with that. She wants to be someplace where she's an essential worker. If there is something like this ever happens again, hopefully nothing like this happens again, but yes.
Yeah, hopefully it never happens again. But yet now she's in a place where she can start a career. She's part of that essential worker company.
Yes. And her name is Iris. And Heidelberg also gave scholarships for 5 years worth of scholarships for the printing program, which I'm very excited about. And Autojan, that's the company who bought Thorough, also is participating in a scholarship to try to encourage the trades. And in that Riverside Community College, in their print department, they do the silk screening, they do labels, they do all these different things. And we just donated a zoomed cutting table so that they can make structural boxes as well, so that they can learn packaging. And that's be another thing, another option for them. So they're going to be coming out well trained to be able to get jobs into the printing industry.
And they'll be skilled. And they'll
have
something behind them.
Yes. So now I want to start working with the companies out there and getting with their HR people about internships. So see what we can do with internships for these students that are learning the print trade. There's so much with scholarships and so much that can be done, but awareness is one of the biggest things. And that's what I want to do, is figure out how to get to the high schools or get to the Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts or the Y or something, to be able to talk to these. I'd like to talk to the junior high and high school people so that they can see the value of print. And I think it's be able to, and they say print is dead. These kids are saying print is dead. And so to take cereal boxes and wrap them up in brown craft and say, so if you went to the grocery store and everything looked like that, where would you know where was your Cheerios? And to see their faces go like, oh, never thought about that. So it's an awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to try to figure out how to do. That is my goal. I'm so thrilled with Iris. I'm so thrilled with Riverside Community College because they are so involved with, and their whole program is set up with people that are so engaged, with their teachers are so engaged that you just have to feel good about it. So it's so exciting.
It definitely is. One thing that I've always said is printing's the best kept secret ever, just in terms of the opportunities that it allows for people to have careers, to be creative. But at the same time, I think there's a certain negativity toward printing because a lot of people think it's an old industry, it's a dead industry, it's a
Yes.
dirty industry.
Yes. Yeah.
But you look
Ink
into
under the
most,
fingers.
exactly, you look at most companies nowadays, it's computers, it's computer programmers, it's so
Mhm.
different. How can we get that information to those younger generations that it's not your grandfather's printing company anymore? It has changed tremendously.
Mhm. Well, that's how I'd like to be able to partner with organizations such as yours, Denise, and how we can put people together, and how I'm here on the West Coast, but I'm very interested in going and talking to the youth and being able to go out there and share that, just so that they can open their minds to that, because they don't know what they don't know. But so much of the youth, they take all everything for granted. And so do we.
Mm-hmm.
We do too as adults. And so it's just a learning. It's be able to introduce them to that. And that's what I want to do. And I know I was told, so Jan, you can go to high schools and try to talk to the counselors, but you know that the counselors are wined and dined by the colleges. What are you going to offer them? I have nothing to offer except ideas, you know.
Yeah.
And not all high schoolers are geared for four-year college. Be hands-on. They get to do things. They get to see at the end of the shift. I helped produce that. I helped print those pallets of boxes that are going to be boxes. You get to go into a store and be able to go, I made that. I made that box. Be able to share with your family. I did that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to be able to share that. That's what I want to do.
The
So
pride
I
of
am
work.
open to any ideas. So any of your listeners, they have ideas, help us get together so that we can do that, because that's my focus.
And that's your new focus.
That's my new focus. Yes. My focus at Thorough for many, many years was to prove to them that a girl can do it, and I did. And if you don't make dust, you eat dust. That's a big one, because that's being a leader out there. How do you be a leader? You know, you make dust. A former employee saw this poster, and it's these cowboys charging over a hill. And it said on the bottom, if you don't make dust, you eat dust. And she sent that poster to me and she said, that's you, Jan. You're making dust. And so I had it painted on my wall in my office. If you don't make dust, you eat dust. Be a leader. So everything is to be a leader. So that's where I still do that. And I still do that with speaking, with mentoring. And I'd like to see, especially women, grow to be everything that they can be. And then now it's TradeWorks. How do I get more youth being aware of the trades, and especially printing?
Well, certainly keeping you busy.
Yeah, that's what my friends always say. It seems like you're always busy doing things. Yeah, I kind of have to be. It's kind of the way I'm wired.
Not a bad thing. In wrapping up, I'm going to ask my favorite question.
Okay.
Knowing what you know now, so all your years of experience in the industry and now as a consultant to the industry, what advice would you give yourself if you were just starting out in the industry now?
Go for it. Just go for it. See the possibilities and see how you can take your abilities and your focus and your passions and make it all happen. Just go for it. Because it's an exciting field. It really is. It's never the same. It's always different. And that was one thing my dad had said to me when I was going to get involved with the company. He said, every day will be different. Boy, was he right. There were some days I go, oh, does it have to be this different? But every day is always different. You never know what you're going to do. You never know how you get to work with the customer and help their dream become a reality and be able to help them sell more of their products. So yeah, just have your passion and go for it.
Awesome. That's fantastic advice. Jan, It was an absolute pleasure chatting with you today. So thank you for spending some time with me.
You're welcome. My pleasure. And I am really passionate about helping out in this industry and continuing to do that. So if you or your readers have any other ideas, is there a way that they can communicate with me?
If you want, I can share your information.
Please.
Okay.
Please, because I'm open to learning. You know, that's how we're all going to get better in life. And that's how we're all going to make our dreams a reality.
Got to make those connections and have those conversations.
Yes, because you never know who's going to be able to open up that next door. And so we can open it up to get more of our students involved about the future. Right. It's a great industry, men and women. I would like to see more women, particularly in the packaging world, get onto the hot stamping equipment. No, we've always had guys do it, and they're very good. But I also believe that a lot of women are so good with attention to details. Mm-hmm. And that was one thing I always wished that I had more women get involved onto the equipment. I think maybe it wasn't quite the time, but I think it is more now. The women can run that equipment just as well as any guy.
I agree.
Yeah. And Iris at RCC is a perfect example. She was chosen by her teacher to run the printing press that day with an open house. I mean, that's kudos to her. He had a lot of confidence in her, but she had to build that confidence in him. Mm-hmm. And that's what we have to do in life. We have to build confidence with the people around us so that they have confidence in us and what we can do and what we can accomplish.
And as an industry, we can accomplish quite a bit.
The world would shrink if we weren't there. I mean, right? I mean, what would happen? You go to the grocery store and you can't see what's inside any of the boxes. You can't read labels. You can't do, I mean, printing is everywhere. Mm-hmm. We just need to get the word out there.
We do.
Yeah.
Well, Jan, thank you again. I really appreciate your time.
You're welcome, Denise. It was a pleasure.